Welcome back to the final session of this fabulous two-day conference, Integrate 2021, brought to you by the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce and Automation Alley. So, what's this last session about? Well, the US and India have forged strong ties over the decades. They've become partners in growth. Without India's IT industry, many of the US companies would have been crippled. And equally, there are innovations from the United States that help keep Indian industry glowing and growing. So let's move to our panel discussion to see what's in store for Indo-US relations and growth. We have Mr. Abhijit Shah, who's Vice Chairperson of the IACC Pune, who will be in conversation with Mr. Kapil Kaul, the National Vice President of IACC, Mr. Saurabh Shah, Regional Vice President of WIC at the IACC, and Ms. Poorvi Chothani, who's the Regional Past President of WIC at the IACC. So welcome to all of you, and look forward to hearing about what is ahead for accelerating Indo-American business opportunities. Over to you, Abhijit.
Welcome to the last session of Integrate India 2021 conference, Accelerating Indo-US Business Opportunities. I'm Abhijit Shah, MD of Walter P. Moore in India. Over 2 days, some amazing content was presented on Industry 4.0, great ideas and case studies. What we are here to talk about today is what's next. It is important to convert these ideas into actual business opportunities for the members of IACC and everybody else. So welcome again to the panel discussion in which we'll talk about accelerating Indo-US business opportunities. We have a great panel to discuss that. Mr. Kapil Kaul, Executive Vice President of IACC and Advisory Board for Rasoi Group. Mr. Saurabh Shah, CEO of Universal Business and Corporate Services Center. And Ms. Poorvi Chothani, Managing Partner at LockWest. Thank you guys. It's going to be pretty interesting today. I'm pretty excited. So let's jump right into it. All right. So the first question, I guess it's for all three of you. We can start with Kapil and then go to Saurabh and Poorvi. So Kapil, in the US, the new Biden administration is in place. Have you seen any changes or expect any changes as compared to the Trump administration that will affect the Indo-US business? What are your thoughts?
Hi, Abhijit, and thank you very much for this introduction and asking me this question, which is pertinent to Indo-US relations. I think it's not just the Biden administration. You have to go back to actually Y2K, which is 99-2000. So the genesis of the Indo-US relations began with that event, right, in the modern era. And I'm saying where the opening up of both America and US began. Till then, it was on a subliminal level of interpersonal relationships, culture, education, and everyone secretly wanted to go to the US, wanted to study there and live there, etc. But after Y2K, the IT industry, which honestly none of the governments really knew what was happening, so it went off on its own tangent. And since then, the presidencies have only been it's not really consequential to the relationship. Though politically, they all have their own stances, but when it comes to the nitty-gritty, they all fall in line. And since then, there has been a supportive, complementary relationship between our two nations. So I would like to say that as a result of that, which is more pertinent today, is that there are 20 in Biden's administration today. There are 20 Indian origin Americans, and in the MNCs, American-based MNCs, there are 10 Indian Americans who head the most important American MNCs. So I think that should give you a sense of what is the future of our relationships, and it has got little to do with really the president. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Kapil. That was a good take on that. How about you, Saurabh? What do you think?
So first, thank you, Abhijit, for introduction and for having me here. So I'm of the view that we are going to, as a country, going to cement the benefits that we have derived under the Trump administration, and we are going to move to the next relationship. In terms of the de-emphasize on the trade deficit and a return to more traditional rules of engagement, this is what, in my view, is going to ease the commercial and economic cooperation. More liberal visa policies for Indian nationals, as we all have been expecting, may solve the string of trade problems and broaden people to people ties. Let me remind you that Biden has long been an advocate of deeper ties between India and US, going back to his days as a chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. So, in my opinion, overall, therefore, a Biden administration will be less abrasive and more traditional partner for India, and is likely to seek continuity in deepening the ties with India, particularly as it seeks to work with all its partners in the world to meet the global challenges. And I would like to make a special reference here of the Biden's action plan on climate change. I think that is something which is really going to bring benefit to India in terms of funding and also in terms of other ties to renewable energy. These are my thoughts and submissions.
All right, thanks, Saurabh. So something that Saurabh touched upon, Poorvi, what are your thoughts from between these two administrations from an immigration and visa standpoint?
So, President Biden had a 20-page manifesto when he was on his campaign that affected immigration. So he has given a lot of attention to immigration, and he realizes that immigration restrictions are affecting U.S. businesses. So the changes he's going to make are not being made to help India or Indians, but if they are enacted, they will be fantastic for Indians. And I'll just elaborate on that in a couple of minutes. The first thing that he did was immediate changes. Is as soon as he took charge, within a few weeks, he lifted the immigrant visa ban. The immigrant visa ban was introduced by President Trump in April last year, and it affected the movement of children, spouses, and parents who were going to migrate permanently to America. So he lifted that. Then there was the non-immigrant visa ban, which was to expire on March 31st. Now, he did not lift that, and I think there's a political message over there, because by lifting the non-immigrant visa ban, what message he would have conveyed to the local population was that I'm inviting foreign workers into the country, and that would not have been good for the local workforce. So he very cleverly did not lift it, but he quietly let it lapse. That means that people can now go and start working in an H-1B or an L visa, which they were not able to do since the ban. That's the immediate changes. But the most important change that we can hope to get is the change in immigration policies as a whole. That's one of the first bills he introduced. It's a 1,000-page bill, got lots and lots of provisions, but some of the key provisions that affect Indians is work permits for H4 visa holders, that's a spouse of an H1B, rejigging of the way they count visas so that there are more immigrant visas, and the queue of 70, 100 years gets reduced, and the protection of children who you otherwise, while the parent is waiting for a green card, are precluded from getting a green card because they turned 21. These are the three very important things. There are many more, but for now, three.
All right. Thanks, Poorvi. I guess so. From talking about the U.S. presidents, let's move back to India and with our Prime Minister here. So, starting with you, Saurabh. So, do you feel that PM Modi's vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliant India will that have an effect on the business opportunities between U.S. and India?
First, thank you for asking me this, because I've been really passionate about this Atmanirbhar Abhiyan. So let me take a second to touch on what is this Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan all about, right? It is all about making India self-reliant, making all the citizens, independent in all senses. But the deep philosophy of Atmanirbhar Bharat is not only to make India a hub of mass-scale production, but to make India a hub of value creation. I think that's what is the focal point and the emphasis. to make India a part of global value chain is what the focal point is all about. Having said this, one beautiful thing which the Indian government did was to reorient the foreign trade policy to meet the objectives of Atmanirbhar Bharat. And having done this, I'm of the view that this has opened up a new and a sustainable corridor of opportunities between India and US in various sectors. But I would like to emphasize on two, three very potential opportunities, and that is in research and development.
Yeah.
We would be able to invite and have active participation of US companies in setting up manufacturing facilities in India, as well as in setting up clusters for technology transfers. Because India is all about MSME, and MSMEs, in order to get adequate technology and competitive technology, may look upon to the US. And if this kind of clusters are set as an opportunity, I think that would be a very impactful and a positive initiative. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Saurabh. So, Mr. Kapil, what are your thoughts on this Atmanirbhar Bharat?
Yeah, I actually also second Saurabh's view on this, where there is a spirit of complementariness between India and US in this Atmanirbhar Bharat scheme, where let's look at it as he said, R&D and hardware is between both the Americans and Indians. We know this, we have the skills for R&D and they have the hardware and the investment for R&D. And going back in time, most of you may or may not know that Wipro had a medical assembly plant of GE. They partnered with GE in Bangalore, and they were doing these scan, the NMR scans, flatbed scanners. And the Indian team out there developed on their own these handheld scanners, which took the GE team by surprise. And at that time, the chairman of GE, the CEO was, what's his name? A famous guy. I'm forgetting his name right now. But he flew in with, pardon?
Yeah. No, I said that. That's all right. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So he flew in with his team, and when he saw what was going on, he actually in those days he shipped most of those guys back to the US. So now, of course, the reverse has happened, where there's a lot of investment happening in India for R&D in Bangalore and wherever, Hyderabad, etc. So that's one aspect. The second aspect is that if you take the Amazon investment in India, it's radically changed the way a customer and consumer is being serviced in India today. All right, we've not had this kind of service and like you can just simply give your product back and there are no questions asked. It used to be a Herculean task. So there's another investment in India which is talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat thing. The other thing now which is coming in with that Elon Musk and Tesla is going to open up shop sometime later this year. And that's going to radically change everything. So, same goes for defense and aerospace. There already Tatas are very big collaborators in the defense and aerospace sector. So I think there is a complementariness between America and India as far as the Make in India program is concerned. Yeah.
Thank you, Kapil. So Poorvi, switching gears a little bit. So our guests have heard today and over the past 2 days, they've learned that there's a lot of opportunities in the US. But how do they go about setting up operations and moving their people there? Can you throw some light on that?
Sure. So first things first. If you've decided that America is a land of opportunities and you want to tap into those opportunities, you need to go and visit the country first and really look at what is happening on the ground. And to do that, it's best to get a B1 visa. That's a non-immigrant visa that allows you to visit, have business meetings, attend conferences, and do many things. The good thing is if you apply for the B1 visa, you're likely to get something called a B1, B2 visa. And the B2 is a tourist visa. So when you want to go to Disneyland with your children next year, you can also do that. So go get yourself first a business visa. After that, if you've decided you're setting up shop over there, you need to establish a company and make sure that the company in the United States is linked to your company in India. If it is linked properly, you will then be able to avail of the L1 intra-company transfer visas. And that is a very, very good way to start your business over there. If it's a new company, you will get it for 1 year and can have 3 renewals of 2 years each. If you have already got a company and it's generating revenue, you could get an approval for 3 years. So that would be your best option to get off the ground. But if you're making a huge investment, like the $1.8 million investment, then you should also be considering the EB5 visa. But the catch over there is that there is a queue for that. There are limited visa numbers, while for the L1 there are there's no limit on the visa numbers. And if you qualify as an L1 intra-company transfer, you could also qualify for a green card, for the EB1C green card for multinational managers. So these are your great options. There are a few others, but these are most practical for businesses. But there's one thing I want the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce to do, and everybody who has some clout with the Indian and US government, is to lobby for a treaty with the United States, a trade treaty or another special business treaty, which provides for either the E1 or E2 visa. And E1 is a treaty trader visa and E2 is a treaty investor visa. We don't have a treaty, so we don't qualify. Countries like Bangladesh and Pakistan and many of these countries have these treaties, and their individuals can go and set up business there very quickly, more efficiently than the others, but we need to lobby for that.
All right. Thanks, Poorvi. Saurabh, I'll go to you next. So two key aspects in my mind that will affect Indo-US businesses are the ease of doing business in India and Invest India. So can you please share your thoughts on these? And guys, from here on, let's keep our comments to about a minute or so that we finish in time.
Sure. Okay. So ease of doing business and Invest India are the two very dynamic and result-oriented initiatives which have been undertaken by the Indian government. For the benefit of our the participants from the US, I just like to mention that the World Bank, in its recent report, 17 report on ease of doing business 2020, has ranked India at a 63rd position out of 190 countries. In fact, this has given a very positive and encouraging message to people who are looking at coming to India and setting up businesses, setting up distributor channel, etc. Of course, no doubt, a lot can be further done, but I must appreciate the initiative of Invest India in terms of acting as a facilitator as well. And both this complementing each other is certainly going to make India a hub for future investments.
All right. Thanks, Saurabh. Kunal, in the context of Indo-US relationship, given the changes happening in the industry currently and disruptions taking place, which are some key businesses or sectors you feel should be focused on? So that question is for you, Kapil.
Yeah. Well, let me, for the sake of being a little brief, so that I don't miss out the main points, I'll just list out the sectors and the elements which we should focus on industry, and then maybe expand a little or summarize it thereafter. So my suggestions and my observations are engineered materials like graphene, which should substitute all natural commodities like copper or steel or any of the conventional commodities that we have, which I will expand a little later. Anything to do with water and oxygen, definitely, right? These are the two key elements which we are all forgetting. Any processes, any industries that are making water purer and more natural, and oxygen also, which is in terms of pollution. So anything to do with pollution, yes. And in our own Indian way, healthcare, which is yoga and Ayurveda, which is coming up a lot in American business. So these are natural, this thing. The other thing which you could do is that looking at how to merge the virtual and the physical aspects of doing business. And this has a twofold benefit, which is reducing motion and travel time, which is a direct element of cost in not wasting your energy. All right. 3D printing and manufacturing processes. And very important, which is circular economy. which goes back to, if you go back to your kid days, or maybe in my kid days it was there, that we didn't throw old clothes away. Our parents or mother or aunt or someone used to sew it, and we used to give it hand-me-downs to others, right? So it was, and if you went to a Modi Khan's dukan, you bought a tomato sauce that was available, not a huge variety which led to waste. So I don't want to expand on that. That can be done a little later. The other is that drone mobility needs to be focused on,
Yeah.
and it will be the huge disruptor as much as what cell phones have been to landlines. I think that is very important. We may think that drones will not come, they will come. It's like saying it's an electronic horse. So in the Wild West, if you took a horse and wherever you went, and it was like an extension of your ego and your human spirit to wander off as much as you wanted, wherever you wanted, at whatever speed you wanted. So drone mobility is very important. And like I said earlier, reducing motion and travel time. Yeah, these are the points which I would say. Maybe later on I might expand if there's time. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Kapil. I think no, that actually does make sense. So, guys, let's come to the reality and what's happening right now, the COVID-19 pandemic, right? So, how do you think it affects the Indo-US business? I mean, it helps in accelerating in some areas, decelerates, slows it down. What are your thoughts? Starting with you, Saurabh.
Sure. In my opinion, it does help us to accelerate. I think we have to identify new opportunities and work at a micro level to convert this, because there is a paradigm shift in terms of supply chain, in terms of countries looking at alternative locations for manufacturing, etc. And I think that's the time where India will have to leverage on its strength in terms of demographic dividend, infrastructure, and other positive, components that we have. And I'm sure that this is on a very positive note.
All right. Thanks, Saurabh. Kapil, your thoughts?
Oh, I think it's a big thumbs up. Honestly speaking, I know it's a trying time like 1918, etc. But it's like nature giving us a kick in the back and being a catalyst for us to actually change and reorient ourselves, and not only the way we live and do business, but more importantly, treat the environment and all the denizens on our blue marble.
Mm.
All right. So it's a huge positive. I mean, don't ignore it. You need to adapt yourself to this new world. And if you live in complementariness with nature and with the environment, it's a huge upside, and especially for Indo-US relations. We could see it with the massive investment that came in with to Reliance Industries from various entities on different business angles. Yeah.
Good way to look at it. So, Poorvi, you're next. Your thoughts on the pandemic?
So again, I will start with the immediate effect and the future, the ongoing effect. The immediate effect is a little challenging because of the COVID pandemic. The consular services in India are really limited. And the worst thing is that business visa travel and the work permit travel is given a low priority. The Department of State issued an announcement last week saying categorically that those will be low priority. So top priority is immigrant visas, then comes student, medical workers, etc. And then if there is time, they will handle these. So that's a challenge. Thousands of people are waiting since last year, October 1st, to begin work in America, and they all don't have visa appointments. So that's a big challenge. Part of it is because of our pandemic in India. What we are going through just now is affecting consular services. The second thing is that people thought that there'd be a big dip in business in the United States, but I don't think so. I think there's a huge spike in the Indo-US business because the demand for H-1B visas this year has been highest ever. Over the past 2-3 years, we've been seeing a 35% success rate in the lottery. This time it was 22%. So you can imagine how many more H-1B cases were filed. So that's positive. The third thing is that COVID is a disruptor. TCS announced several months ago that by 2025, they will only have 25% of their staff coming into the office. Now that's very good news for India because if work can be done remotely, our dependence on their visas will reduce and we will still continue to get their business. So I think this is a time when the Indian companies have to leverage that and use technology, our acumen, and really give a thrust so that we get business and there will be more offshoring. So I think it's positive all around.
All right. Thanks, Poorvi.
Uh, Abhijit, if I can make one quick statement,
Sure,
just to complement what Kapil and Poorvi said, I'd like to quickly refer to the public statement which is made post-meeting of the U.S. Trade Representative Catherine Tai and Mr. Piyush Goyal, our Union Cabinet Minister. I think both the countries are keen to dialogue, to have collaboration, to cooperate, to easen out all the open issues on bilateral. So I think that's very encouraging, and I'm sure
Yeah.
with the chamber's support, we can quickly bring all this at a micro level to see that there is an impact on businesses.
Yeah.
May I
All
say
right.
one thing?
Thanks.
May I say one thing, Abhijit? One thing.
Real quick. Yeah.
Very quick. COVID has made international travel very difficult, but it has also made the program called Select USA go online. Select USA is a place where 50 states come together to pitch for your business. So if you are thinking of setting up a business in America, these 50 states are welcoming you. Attend the virtual Select USA conference and you will be wooed by the states to go and set up business there. So COVID makes that happen. Otherwise, you'd have to travel to DC.
That's right. Thanks, Poorvi, for that. So, guys, last question for Kapil and Saurabh. So, how do you see the IACC, the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, responding to this ever-changing scenario on different fronts and be the catalyst for Indo-US business? So, I guess, is there anything specifically that you guys plan to achieve next year in your leadership positions at IACC? And keep your responses to a minute if possible. Go ahead, Kapil.
Yeah, I would say that it's all about one letter, and the letter is E. So, till now, it has been the economy, but that is just a single dimensional view of life on Earth. It is actually a big E, but a big E in 3D or E cube, which is environment, energy, and ecology. So that's going to be the focus going into the future, and all businesses and lives will rotate around these three elements, with the elimination of crude probably in a decade horizon. That's what I sense and feel going forward. Yeah.
Thanks, Kapil. Saurabh, you get the last word.
So I'll put it as approach, build, and collaborate is going to be the key words as we move into a completely different corridor post-pandemic. And as IACC, certainly we like to act as a catalyst at both the levels, macro and micro, to see there is an immense benefit that we bring to our members in terms of nurturing partnership with US companies and vice versa. Thanks.
All right. Great. Thanks. So, Mr. Kapil, Saurabh, Poorvi, thank you all for a very informative session. This was really good. You guys had been great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Abhijit. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Poorvi and Saurabh for being with us.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
With the end of this session, it also brings us to the end of the conference portion of Integrate India 2021. The exhibition, however, will still be open tomorrow as well. So over the past 2 days, we have had great sessions, starting with the chief guest, Mr. Deepak Bangla, and the keynote address by Ms. Meher Padamji. I want to thank the entire team of IACC, starting from the Secretariat, the leadership team, and the committee members, as well as our partners at Automation Alley, including the CEO, the COO, and the entire management team, for putting together this amazing virtual event in the middle of the pandemic. The conference would not have been possible without the support of the sponsors, starting with our gold sponsors, GendaMark and IFM Global, silver sponsors Blue Conch Technology, Persistent, PTC, and InfinityX, ecosystem partners Invest India, World Trade Center, SEEP, MCCIA, and IBCCI. And last but not least, our technology partner, Chorus Call. Without their key role and the robust platform, this virtual exhibition and conference would not have been possible at all. Also, huge thanks to all the exhibitors and all you guys, the participants, both members of IACC and the ones who are not members yet. So please reach out to a branch in your area and we would love to include you in the team. With this, I formally conclude today's event and the conference as well. But remember, the exhibition is also going to be open tomorrow. So this is Abhijit saying stay safe, wear a mask, be patient, be compassionate, and have a great weekend. Thank you.
Great job, Abhijit. Fantastic to hear that final panel discussion. Abhijit, tell me, what were your highlights of today? What did you really enjoy?
Oh, all the sessions were great. All panel discussions were great. I really enjoyed the session by Ashutosh, and also liked the session by Indranil Chitare. I know you did
Yes.
as well with the mango
Yes.
burfi. I hope that
I
he
want
sends
the
it to you.
mango burfi.
All right.
Yeah.
No, I guess,
Yeah, sorry, go on.
no, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I think the whole 2 days has been a real awakening for a lot of people who now understand much more what Industry 4.0 can do for them. And I wanted to just end with a quote by the American Robert J. Schiller, who was who is the 2013 Nobel laureate in economics, and he's a professor of economics at Yale University. He says you can't wait until a house burns down to buy fire insurance on it. And we cannot wait until there are massive dislocations in our society to prepare for the fourth industrial revolution. So I thought that was a really good quote. And a big thank you to all of you. And thank you for having me as your guider of ceremonies.
Well, as you know, at the end of my session, I've already thanked all the people and the organizations that made this event possible. However, I want to take this opportunity to thank the operations team of both Chorus Calls and IACC Pune, who have been working really hard behind the scene, or I should probably say behind the screen in this case. And last but not the least, our MC, our guider of ceremony, but I'm going to go with MC, the master of ceremony. And boy, aren't you a master? You did a tremendous job. So thank you very much, Vandana Saxena Poria. Vandana, you've been really great and we really appreciate it. Your thoughtful questions and your high energy level throughout the day has been amazing. And now I'm going to say something that you've been saying a number of times over the past 2 days. As a token of our appreciation, we planted a tree in your honor in the Basi Wildlife Sanctuary in Rajasthan. But as Industry 4.0 is a convergence of digital and physical, so in addition to your digital certificate, we'll also be sending you a physical box of Chitare Bandhu's mango burfi. I hope you enjoy it. With that, Vandana, are you ready to close the conference?
Thank you. And yes, I am. Everyone have a great weekend and stay safe.
Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you.